All right, we're back with you again, tracking lake effect another time. This is day two, what is going to be a 4-day lake effect event. I'm meteorologist Andy Parker alongside storm chaser extraordinaire, meteorologist David Vogan. We've got him back inside today because we're tracking the snow across western New York. Yes, we said it, and it's stuck. Slush on hills of the southern tier. Randolph, Jerry, you're down there in portions of Frewsburg, Mayville, Jamestown, Perrysburg, just in all the burgs in Chautauqua County, even the hills of Cattaraugus, right, Dave? We saw some at Holiday Valley.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful view when you have that fall foliage mixing in with that wet, slushy snow. But I do have to tell you, I mean, you're looking at Doppler right now. Much of this is rain. However, Andy, I just got a report from the National Weather Service out in Cheektowaga that was reporting hail at the Buffalo Airport. If you want to zoom on in a little bit closer there, you can see the yellows and the reds and the oranges. But again, there's some hail within that, and you can see that right there on Doppler.
Yeah, we had some lightning yesterday. There were reports of a lot of hail and graupel, those little Dippin' Dots, as people like to. They don't taste like Dippin' Dots, but they'll hit you. It's snow that hurts when it hits, I guess is one way to describe it. And you can see that the defined edge of it there. This is what it looks like as you kind of take a view from a little further away. Those gray clouds, and you've got the windmills spinning pretty good on the right-hand side of the screen. And then going out of this city, it's another view, and you can see it looks like it's trying to drop a couple of water spouts. We've had no reports yet, but as we're out there, boy, a couple of close calls for sure. Let's go back to Doppler. Hey, if you have any questions, now's the time to get them in. Post them right there. We can see them live. We'll answer all the stuff that you want to know. Mostly folks wanted to know about the snow, and we're happy to cover that along with the rain about where is it going, when's it going to be there. Here's the big picture as we watch it. Let's bring this full, and then David will take people through this. Let's go to the north towns first, because this is now beginning to edge up into Amherst, probably right on the edge. You'll see some angry clouds in the Tonawandas, Akron, Oakfield, all the way into Genesee County and Batavia. Let's talk about the city, Dave, and we'll touch on what the Weather Service just put out for the airport again. Go ahead.
Yeah, now Kenmore is starting to get into the action. Light rain for you folks up in North Buffalo, but it's the yellows, the oranges. That's where you're hearing it on the rooftops. In fact, here in South Buffalo, I can certainly hear it. And if you're driving on the 90, if you have to drive on the 90, right towards West Seneca, that's the 400 too. That's where you're starting to slow down a little bit on the roadways there, because that is some very heavy rain mixing in with some hail, again, being reported at the National Weather Service in Cheektowaga, or at least at the airport in Buffalo.
You got it. Let's move a little bit further south. This has been ugly. Everything that you can think of in the kitchen sink has been hit by Hamburg. They've had the wind, they've had hail. They're now undergoing that the heavy rain again, right embedded in there. Looks like Blaisdell now sliding up. It's South Buffalo again. South Buffalo for a time was covered yesterday in white. They had enough pellets where it actually stacked up. And if you do have your shovel down, you're able to slide it out of the way. A little further down south into the southern tier, let's give this a full ride picture. And you can see inland, there's nothing. Wellsville, Salamanca, Cattaraugus, those are folks that had a few snow showers overnight, but that lake band hugging the shoreline of Lake Erie, isn't it?
Yeah, and, Salamanca, Franklinville, Ellicottville, you folks saw the snow. It's dry in your backyard right now with some very light patchy rain now crossing into the Little Valley area. Sinclairville seeing some light rain showers, but if you're hoping for the snow to end, well, we have some bad news for you, because there's more snow on the way, not just for the southern tier, Andy, but also for even up towards East Aurora, and for some areas that haven't seen that wet, slushy mix of snow. Well, you're going to see it tonight.
Yeah, let's go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. This is what we're looking at when it comes to some snow. Who's going to see the snow? Not necessarily everybody getting the same amount. Let me bring this full, and Dave, walk people through it. I think the shock to the system here is the city of Buffalo is actually within the cone of probability of seeing some flakes tonight.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me to see a couple of wet flakes past sunset later on this evening for those of us into the North Towns, Buffalo area, into Amherst, all the way into Lancaster to Pew, seeing the possibility of some wet flakes out there. But if you want the accumulation, if you want to see some white in your backyard, well, it's going to be towards the Springville area. And where you're seeing the lighter blues and the darker blues, that's a good indication that the higher hilltops once again are going to see some wet slush accumulation. So that's just Genesee Road exit area just off of 219 Springville, all the way down to Ski Country once again, Ellicottville, Little Valley, even sliding all the way to Chautauqua County, Sinclairville. Again, you folks will see some more snow compared to the other folks up in the North Towns that, again, that snow not expected to stick up in Buffalo. No shovels needed, but if you're living up in the hilltops in Sinclairville out towards Jamestown, yes, you're going to see some more snow sticking to the ground tonight.
Yeah, that is it. It's within there. Let's widen this thing out again. Areas that got hit, we've had an inch of snow already from last night. And I actually saw a couple of cars with it on the hood coming up out of the hills and then down into the lower elevations. This is not grape country right along the shoreline, but any elevation inland. But the city of Buffalo is going to have an opportunity to maybe do that wintry mix where you're driving and all of a sudden it's half rain, half snow, that chunky rain. The next question that everybody always has is, where is it and when is it going to be at my house? We kind of told folks that the snow is coming, but here's the timing. This is where it is as we go through the evening. Kind of what you see is what you get, all the way up the lake from Dunkirk into the city of Buffalo. That's where it stays. Now, as it starts to get a little cooler or colder, there's that mix. Let's go ahead and zero into the city of Buffalo right here. It's when you start to see the different blues on there, and then the hues anyway, as you get the mixing. Not that this is going to stick to the ground, but this could be the first chance that folks in and around the city of Buffalo and some of the North Towns have at actually getting a peek at a couple of winter snowflakes here. Let me bring this back out, David, because I want to get into the southern tier and how this is going to kind of manifest into another slushy snow. And there's the timing of this. It begins to reorient. And then just as the snow map you had, look at these areas that are starting to see the snow early tomorrow morning. We're right back there in some of the South Towns and East Aurora, Holland, and then down along the lakeshore into portions of the southern tier. That kind of jives with what you were looking at as far as the probability of seeing the heaviest snow. This is actually for the morning drive tomorrow at that point.
Yeah, snow brushes, if you have them, if you could find them. I know some of us still have them in the closet, but good idea to have that with you before you head outside, or at least to the morning commute drive, because I bet there's going to be some of that wet, slushy snow accumulating onto the vehicles out there for the southern tier. But the counties you haven't called out, really, northern Niagara and Orleans County, you folks are going to see the least amount of rain and even activity out of this band of lake effect rain and snow. But there's going to be some times where you do see, just driving on through that HRRR, at least going through time during the late night, overnight hours, you're going to see some lake effect rain and even possibly mixing in with snow up towards Orleans County, Medina, Lyndonville. But if you're along the shorelines of Lake Ontario, Youngstown, Newfane, Barker, you folks have a least chance of seeing some snowflakes and even rainfall. In fact, I'd say you folks are going to be one of the driest towns in all of Western New York compared to down in downtown Buffalo, Akron, where we're going to be seeing rain for quite some time and even some flakes mixing on in. Andy.
Yeah, right in here. I mean, we've got it zeroed in. It's Clarence, Akron, Williamsville, Amherst, Cheektowaga, West Seneca, Elma, all have the potential to have a rain-snow mix as we get into the later into the evening hours here. This is between about 7 and 10. Going back to the loop, watch where this thing goes. I mean, it hangs out. It is not going to be a pretty night in the city and areas to the south. The cutoff might be the northern edge of the Grand Island Bridge, and then that begins to slide back inland into the south and reorient itself. And then that's where we'll kind of slide a little deeper into the South Towns. When we look at this, there's the triangle kind of in the center portion of the screen there. That's where the stadium is. What are we looking at for areas to the south there? These are going to be some of the favored hills of the south towns, not necessarily the southern tier, right, Dave?
Yeah, even Wyoming County out toward Gainesville, just to the south of Attica, we're looking at snow totals, 1 inch, 2 inches tops, right around Warsaw, or at least to the, the west of Warsaw. That is, we could see some good snowfall accumulations along Route 20A, and then Holland, Springville. I mean, you're seeing the darker blues right there onto HRRR. That is going to be a decent amount of snow moving on in early Wednesday morning from Gowanda into South Dayton there, Andy.
Yeah, there's some people that didn't get snow last night in some of the south towns that were kind of left out of the party. I mean, you've got the chunks of Cattaraugus and Chautauqua that saw their first snow. This could be the first slushy accumulation for folks in the deeper south towns: Eden, Gowanda, Springville, Collins, Concord, Holland, you name it. Maybe even East Aurora and Orchard Park, but it won't be the low levels. It would be anything with elevation, the southern end of Orchard Park. And then, of course, as we kind of keep going a little bit further down to the south, that is when we're finding that the potential for snow continues for Jamestown. This will be night number 2 for those folks down there. And it looks like that's going to be the case again for Tuesday night, and then again Wednesday night into Thursday. So we've got at least 2 more opportunities to have some snow stick to the ground out there. And I'm going to throw this map up again. This is the probability map of seeing those snow showers around Western New York, and that's kind of what we're watching. If you're within there, you've got a chance for the snow. All right, look at this guy sneaking in, trying to get his weather fix here. Mr. Dave Cash is in the house. Great to have him along. Thank you very much, David. Summer, you've got to wait. I don't want to do the calculus on it, but it's not coming back for a while.
No,
always
but
always good to see Mr. Dave Cash popping in. Yeah,
no,
Dave,
but if you want
it.
to look on the bright side, I mean, get through Thursday, looking ahead to the weekend, we're going to see some beautiful, dry, gorgeous weather. If you haven't done any leaf peeping, if there's still any leaves left on the trees in your backyard, I know we're dealing with some breezy conditions, rain, snow. That's going to knock some of the leaves off the trees. But if you have that opportunity, maybe you want to do yard work, look forward to the weekend. You want to sit back, kick back, relax. The Bills aren't playing this weekend, so your heart level is going to be at good levels. You're not going to be stressing out. But right now, for today through Thursday at least, we're going to get some shots of cold. We're going to get shots of rain, even snow for locations across the area. But the greenest portions of Western New York, Andy, is going to be right around the Lake Shore area. And that's because Lake Erie and the winds moving over a warm body of water. I mean, Lake Erie is in the 50s. And that's to prevent any snow for the immediate shoreline from happening at all. It's really the hilltops out there in Ellicottville and Salamanca and the Chautauqua Ridge Top. You folks are going to see some more wet snowflakes, even the deeper south towns like you were mentioning.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, Jenny, I want to get this in here. She agrees with Dave. I think we're going to have a lot of people agreeing with Dave. They'd love a little extra of a stint of summertime. And this is not meant to be all gloom and doom. I mean, right now, this is the reality that we're watching all of this rain, the lake effect rain switching with snow as we see the temperatures begin to drop. But this weekend, it'll be a memory. I know there was snow on the ski resorts, but they will be golfing this weekend as opposed to skiing. That's not going to happen anytime soon. Look at this cell. Look at this, right up into the gut of the city here to the south of it. I mean, that
South
is
Buffalo,
West Seneca.
Lackawanna.
Anybody in West Seneca, Lackawanna, South Buffalo? I'm sure you're hearing it on the roof. And you had mentioned before the airport's already talked about the chance for that hail to hit again.
Yeah, I mean, it was reported at the airport just a few minutes ago. Yeah, there was some hail mixing in with that rain in Cheektowaga. Wherever you're seeing the yellows, the oranges, even reds right there in Lackawanna towards the Basilica and South Park. That's where it's really, really pouring. And in fact, looking at Doppler, Andy, that is strengthening right there out towards Blaisdell, anywhere along the thruway from northern Hamburg right there, Shorelines, Route 5, Blaisdell. I know a lot of folks travel along the 400 just to get to work into Buffalo. I mean, that is some heavy rain mixing in there for South Park. That's Route 62 right there where your cursor is. And then Route 5 where you start to hit the Tift Nature Preserve exit into the Skyway. I mean, that's some very heavy rain right there.
That's going to slow. I mean, I don't want to say it's going to extend your commute, but I've got to tell you, when cars are going to start going slower, the chances of accidents, if you drive the 90 at all, it seems like even the lightest breeze can trigger a massive slowdown on there. So this is going to be one of those nights to keep an eye on that, because this does extend. Look at how far inland this goes. Let me widen this thing out. There's the airport, Cheektowaga. We go. I mean, this lake band now, it's leaving Erie County. This is all the way just north of Batavia. I bet the clouds, if you look north of Batavia, the clouds are probably very ominous right now, all the way into Alabama and Oakfield. And let me put the timing on this again as we watch this lake effect evolve. This, I think, is the strongest, the most organized band of lake effect that we've seen the entire afternoon. It kind of reoriented from the south and now back on this fetch that takes it just to the south of the city. And as we kind of zero in on this area again, I mean, if anybody is in there, this is the time people kind of start tuning in for this. When the weather starts getting really ugly out their window, they want to know why it's happening, how long it's going to happen, and it makes them uneasy. That's why we're here to answer any of the questions that you have about the weather that's happening outside right now, because this is a multi-day lake effect event. And look at how that intensifies just in the last 15 or 20 minutes, right on the doorstep of this city. That's the Route 5 complex there. It's the interchange of the 90 and the 190, the base of the 400 there. This went right through West Seneca. If there's folks out there that are in any of these red areas, I'd love to hear what you have to say. We're watching your comments. Feel free to post something, ask a question. I'll put that in there again, because folks think this is a one-way street, but it is not. It is something where you guys can go ahead and ask questions, and we're able to answer them in real time for you right here. I can see that we've got a decent audience, and we're happy to have you along, being able to provide this information to you. This is what we're watching right now. Dave, let's go ahead. We've got a bunch of people that just popped in. We're going to switch from the rain part of this story to the snow part of this story, because that's generally the question that a lot of people want. And the map that we're looking at here doesn't particularly give totals, but we're saying within this area, if you're in one of those shaded areas, you've got a chance of seeing the snow in the air tonight, right, Dave?
Yeah, especially for those of us that, I mean, you're looking at this map right now, you're seeing a bunch of colors from light gray to a darker blue, and the areas that have the blue shading, the darker blue, that's the best chance to see accumulating snowfall, wet slushy mix on your doorstep walking outside Wednesday morning. So we're seeing rain right now in the city of Buffalo, all the way up into northern portions of Erie County. But I would not be surprised. I mean, we were just showing you that one model run to see a lot of this start the transition from rain all the way into wet flakes for those of us out into northern Erie County. In fact, I'll zoom in a little bit closer here out towards the Amherst area, Depew, West Seneca. The folks that didn't see the wet snowflakes yesterday, yeah, there's a good chance we're going to see some of that north of ski country later on tonight. So right around Lancaster, East Aurora, Warsaw, Wyoming County, going all the way down to Springville. I know folks out there, they were posting pictures in the Springville area of some snow on your doorstep or on your front lawns, your patio furniture, if you left that out. Yeah. Certainly seeing a lot of those photos. But again, the lighter, the darker blue, that's the best chance to see accumulating slush on your doorstep from tonight into Wednesday morning. Good idea to have the snow brush on hand. Likely
Yeah.
you're going to be walking out to some heavy wet snow on your vehicles, but no, it's not, it's not something that you can't deal with. It's just going to be more of an annoyance. And then going into Cattaraugus County, Chautauqua County, you already saw your snow. I hope you love snow because you're getting another shot of it again late tonight into Wednesday morning. And we even have some more opportunities going into Thursday, but we were just talking about the weekend, Andy. It is going to be beautiful. It's going to be dry. It's going to be the perfect weekend just to get outdoors, kick back and relax and enjoy some sun. I mean, we haven't really seen a lot of sun looking at the clouds over Lake Erie.
You've got none of it out there right now. Christine, I think she encapsulates a lot of the emotions that people have right now. Like, oh, here we go. It's on its way. It's not gonna go away anytime soon. And when you look at the skies that we have out there, I mean, this is that dark gray. Not everybody's seen the dark gray. Thank you, Christine. I appreciate that. This is going to be that isolated band that we showed, that shifting band where you're going to have blue sky and you can see it there in the distance. And then all of a sudden you've got these dark gray clouds as this reorients over the top of your house. And then it's going to drop something like this, where you're seeing this intense band begin to really pick up. And it's really only, I mean, if you make that trip from downtown Buffalo, maybe out to the 190, it is not that far. This is a matter of miles. It's a sliver of real estate out there, but that is what we're watching. And let me go ahead and take this back out a little bit further. Kind of the folks that just popped in, we're happy to have you along. Feel free to ask questions on the right-hand side. Go ahead and type them in. If you have the opportunity to hit a like button, throw an emoji up, we can see all that too. That's fantastic. We love that. This is the band where it is right now. This is about an hour-long time lapse on this thing. And again, it affects the North Towns, and that's why we wanted to bring this in. We're starting to see another audience here finding their day changing quite rapidly. Look at that change now. It's hopping over the thruway, David, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Lockport just on the northern edge of this, and then Tonawanda. But once you go into the Grand Island Bridge or South Grand Island Bridge, it's dry right there for you. But heading further south, 190 all the way into downtown Buffalo, it is pouring, especially south of downtown Buffalo. Actually, we're hearing it on the rooftops in Lackawanna, in South Buffalo, Akron, getting in on some of the action. And we even saw a report of hail at the National Weather Service in Cheektowaga. So certainly, I mean, not just seeing heavy rain, but we're also seeing some hail mixed in just like we saw yesterday, Andy.
Yeah, now here's a made-to-order forecast. Look at Tonawanda. Let's go ahead and watch how close this is. And you can see as the 290 kind of circles the Kenmore there, the borderline, and then the edge of that is right in there. And we just had Mark here say, hey, hello from Tonawanda. It depends on what part of Tonawanda you're in. If you're in the city of Tonawanda, it looks like you're getting rain. North Tonawanda, Wheatfield, boy, the skies are going to start looking ugly. And this is actually starting to make a move across the 290. I think this is going to end up over the South Grand Island Bridge and then start to encompass a good chunk of the area that goes along the 990. You've got UB up there and Amherst, Clarence. Let me bring this back out a little bit and help the folks see the extent of this, because it's on the move. The lake effect has been kind of hanging out in the South Towns and along the lakeshore, but this is now beginning to make that jog, the predicted jog back to the north.
Yeah, and Grand Island again, it is dry, but you really want to know where it's pouring buckets. I mean, you're starting to see that band over the South Towns, the immediate South Towns, from West Seneca to Hamburg into Blaisdell. I mean, it is pouring out there. Lackawanna, South Buffalo, just north of Orchard Park. It is it's pouring. Even getting reports of some hail in there, like we just mentioned before, even all the way up to Akron. Look at that along the thruway. Corfu, Clarence Center, seeing some rainfall out there, and you're looking at the intensity right there towards Cheektowaga.
Yeah. That is big. Those are big numbers when you watch that come down. Mark said he's in the town of Tonawanda, so I'm assuming it's raining pretty good over there at Mark's house. Hey, Jenny, where are you watching from? It always helps. Make sure you, in your comments, say where you're at. it helps out a lot. She says that's exactly what's outside her window right now. And a lot of folks are feeling that as well. So if you've got rain or if you have any hail, let us know, because this is something that we're kind of tracking here, especially in the last few minutes, watching this intensify. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Jenny says she's in the city of Tonawanda here. I'm going to say it, Dave. If this was 10 degrees colder, what would be happening inside this? This would be whiteout conditions, a heavy wet snow in mid-October. This would not be a good situation in any of these communities. I think this could be, with just a few more degrees of cool, this could have been a big event, snow event.
Yeah, and you have to keep in mind there's still a lot of trees that are green in the north towns, along the shores of Lake Erie, even up into the north towns, Kenmore. Still have a lot of green on the trees, and all it takes, what we've learned, the October storm, I mean, it just takes 3-4 inches of very heavy wet snow to knock those branches down, and that's what caused all these issues was the power outages. But thankfully, looking at Doppler, I mean, a lot of this is rain right now, Andy.
Yeah, this is we do have the precipitation type on here, and everything is coming down in the form of rain. All right, this is let's I want to go back to this particular view right here, and this is what's indicative of what people are seeing out there today. It is it's not a pretty view as you're cruising around out there. It's very ominous. Some would say it was ugly out there. I think we've UGG was one of the other ones here. And then the big question that everybody has is, of course, where is this thing going? What's it going to do next? Is this going to end up at my house? And what's it going to leave on the doorstep as we go through the overnight tonight? So let's go ahead and bring back in this one. Now, what this is going to do, actually, this is a wrong loop here, but I'm going to get this for you. There we go. And we're going to pop this up, and we're going to bring in where the snow and where the rain is going to be as we move through time. So once this pops up, I'm going to slow it down, and we're going to spend some time. We've got more time to do this for you here than you'd see on TV. So we're tailoring forecasts for what you're looking for, and hopefully giving you a longer look at what's about to happen, so you'll be completely filled in as this gets here. So David, let's take some folks through time right now. This is that intense band that we're looking at right now that's going to pretty much stay where it is through the dinner hour and the drive home, isn't it?
Yeah, and once we head past sunset, dusk, this is when we're going to start to see some mixing for those of us in the North Town. So I know actually a couple of people watching in Tonawanda, North Tonawanda, Amherst. Wouldn't be surprised once we go into 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. You see the switchover right there. The blues, that's indication, yes, some wet flakes flying in the North Towns from Buffalo to Pew, all the way into Akron. Would not be shocked to see a couple of reports out there in the North Towns. Eventually,
yeah.
Well, I'm sorry.
I was going to say the weather service is right in there. So this could, if we do get some flakes, could end up being the first flakes of the season in October, which isn't, it's a little earlier than normal, but not outlandish for this time of year.
No, absolutely not. But yeah, it wouldn't be a surprise to see some of that. Now, is it going to accumulate? Are you getting 6, 8, 10 feet of snow? Absolutely not. That's not the storm. But if you're into ski country, the hilltops, yes, you're going to see another round of snow, very wet, slushy snow. Holland, East Aurora, even the deeper south towns, like you were mentioning a couple of minutes ago, Andy, Eden, Hamburg, the 219. There you go. There's the darker blues walking out Wednesday morning, right around 5 o'clock. You're going to have to brush some of that heavy, wet snow off of your vehicles, and even into Cattaraugus, Chautauqua County. Yeah. Another good possibility that you're going to see some more snow accumulating on your lawns and gardens and patio furniture that you left out.
This is kids at the bus stop, possibly in that wet snow, not just in the deep southern tier where you've got to go all the way to Chautauqua County, but this could be the first time southern Erie County comes into play. We looked at Holiday Valley, and we saw that their chairlifts were covered. Kissing Bridge stayed in the form of rain, but I think that was really just a factor of where some of the precipitation set up last night. The setup tonight, once this lake band begins to reorient, all that moisture as the air gets a little cooler, it's going to be a very close call. But boy, when you look at this map, I mean, there's a good chunk of Western New York that has an opportunity to actually see some snow as we go through the late evening and then into the morning hours. So anywhere within there, you've got an opportunity to see snowflakes. If you're in gray, if you're in those darker blues, you're going to have an opportunity to have that actually stick to the ground. And you can see that includes the elevations of southern Erie County, Collins, Concord, Holland, and Java, all the way into even portions of Wyoming County, but maybe the western edge. And then all the way down a little bit further south, you've got the same players that we did last night in portions of the deeper southern tier, because that's just going to be a kind of an interesting setup for tomorrow morning. Speaking of tomorrow morning, let's go back to this map, and I'll widen this out. This is what you're going to be walking out the door to at around 7 in the morning. So the band that's hitting the city now reorients a little bit further to the south, and it's going to kind of break apart into multiples, but enough to keep snow on the screen through the morning hours. It'll likely switch back to rain again during the course of the afternoon on Wednesday, and then provide yet another round of this as it goes into Thursday. So this is Tuesday night, you've got a chance for snow. Wednesday night, you've got a chance for snow. And then during the morning hours, on our Thursday. All right, let's go ahead. We get another report in here. David says it's raining in Hamburg near Boston. And David, it has been doing that over there for a long time. Let's go back to that, and we'll take you over there live on the Doppler. And this is really indicative of what's happening. That's what's going on right now. And it's been doing this, and it's intensifying over the city for a while. So I appreciate that report. Anybody else want to chime in, feel free. As always, we can see this is not a one-way street. This is a live stream where we're actually able to answer your questions. East Aurora is probably the eastern edge of this. And then you can watch how this just sweeps right through Orchard Park into West Seneca. And then there you can see the reds. And now that that's shifted, that's actually looks like the 90 a little further inland, that the most vigorous cell is hitting Williamsville, Main Street out in Clarence Center, and the city of Buffalo just teetering right on the edge of this, David.
Yeah, I mean, if you widen out the view, it really looks like this band of lake effect is strengthening. It's organized. I mean, yesterday, if you remember at this time, it was just a bunch of shots of rain moving into the city, into the north towns, and then you would get a break. This is not a break. I mean, this is constant rain in the south towns from West Seneca, South Buffalo, even downtown Buffalo, getting in on a lot of the action. And look how far inland this extends from southern Erie County, from Dunkirk, seeing some lighter bands of rain, but the heaviest extending from South Buffalo, even into Hamburg, Blaisdell, into Genesee County, and some of that moving into Orleans County right now.
Yeah, this is all the way out there. I mean, we mentioned that Batavia is just on the southern end of this as it continues to push its way inland, and it's been doing this for a number of hours. I mean, this is something that's been going on since this morning. The reorientation of where this is going and how long it's going to be there. This is going to be something that sits here right on through the evening drive. It's going to be a problem for folks until we finish out really the latter half of the early evening hours, and then it starts to switch, mix with some snow, and then go back and really target portions of the deeper southern tier. That's what we're looking at here over the next bit. We've been doing this for a while. I think we've been able to cover all the bases with everybody. It's been great to have everybody in here. We always love providing this for you. We'll answer another just as we're ready to wrap it. We start to get another question, but I love it. Diane, thank you very much. This is an easy one. Is this staying in South Buffalo? I think we're going to be able to say yes for the next maybe 4 or 5 hours. This might end up staying. You might be the pivot point in South Buffalo for this. I would expect to see the rain and some of that hail, and I would imagine it's coming down pretty hard in South Buffalo, Dave, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. This is, stay inside soup weather, I would say. It's cold, yeah. October skies, it's pouring rain. Just, sit back, relax, read a book, make some soup.
That's good advice. Good advice. Hey, on behalf
Yeah.
of myself and meteorologist Dave Vogan, we've been our pleasure to kind of bring this to you today. We're going to do this more and more often as the weather dictates. And when you want to know, you've got a place to go. So make sure you like the channel, subscribe, and when we do these, you'll be notified as well. Thanks everybody for stopping by. We'll see you again.